I think people will go back to the cinemas. The multiplexes feel like it's an overblown home theater. I'm sorry. What the hell is content driven? Everything is meant to be content driven, right? Just because a Hatke story doesn't make it content driven. Writing, because this place is now dependent on writers. This platform cannot perform without good writing.
Filmmakers think of OTT as a threat. Do you agree or disagree? Will OTT watching at home ever stop people from going into the cinemas?
Gulshan Rai and Yash Chopra Sahab and the Prakash Mehra. Yeah, at that point of time, yeah, potatoes were also at 3 rupees a kilo. You know what I mean? But however, what you're saying is absolutely right. And my only take is what has happened is, I think people will go back to the cinemas. They will, when they understand the folly of, cutting the golden goose completely and whatever their folly may be. I won't get into that. You have been articulate about it, and God bless you for being so candid. However, I think it's a good thing that the OTT came along for one good reason. So many stories that would never be greenlit for the big screen, even if a ticket was for 25 rupees or even 10 rupees, will now be greenlit so that they can be seen on the OTT. So there's a nice multiverse happening. And I'll say one more thing. I am so happy I get to see such wonderful talent on OTT. Writers and directors are coming out in a good way out of the woodwork. I think that's fantastic. I think it's great. While cinema, and I love cinema, has its own charm and it needs a bigger screen. That's as simple as that. There was a time where you could not have a Golmaal, I'm talking about the Amol Palekar Golmaal, that would come only in the morning show, right? Or a Choti Si Baat. Those movies would only come in the morning show. Now, we have an alternative for that. We have an alternative. We have young writers to come out there and put their work, and they get greenlit, and there's more work. The industry benefits from all of this, whether it's OTT and cinema. One last thing. I have this thing to say, and you mentioned about in the West, whether it's in America or in England, the theater was for the elite, and cinema was designed for the regular Joe. How can the regular Joe now say that it's the elites who can afford to buy the 800 rupee ticket? That's wrong. Something has to happen. That's all.
For a room full of OTT experts and OTT professionals, that's a thing to clap about. So please go ahead. OTT, which is again a small screen watch, or even however big your television screen may be at home.
I just feel that the screens that we used to watch as kids, Strand used to be 70 mm, Excel used to be 70 mm, Minerva 70 mm. but the multiplexes feel like it's an overblown home theater. I'm sorry. We don't have that experience of seeing the old turkey flying across from here to here. You know, I feel if with all the technology, give us a big screen somewhere. What the hell is content driven? Everything is meant to be content driven, right? Just because a Hatke story doesn't make it content driven. So my take is simply this. With a plethora of OTT platforms and a plethora of shows being greenlit, what are we looking for? Writers. The actors will come and the directors will direct and the producers will produce. Oh, who's going to give them stories to produce? Writers. And if we do not encourage writers, give them their due, pay them well, train them maybe, what's going to happen is what Rasika just said. Season 2, Season 3, when you have to churn out by reflex, by muscle memory of a writer to understand that this format is right. First season is great because people have spent so much time with so much hunger going around and hawking that script, and they keep changing that script to perfect it. Season 2 might not be as good if we do not have writers who will deliver that season 2, and we have to be very careful about that.
Do you think that today a Ranveer Singh or a Ranbir Kapoor is a bigger star in any which way than an OTT star?
You have to ask the older guys this question. No, of course they are huge stars. Of course they are huge stars. The only way to answer this question is if a Ranveer Singh or a Ranbir Kapoor decide to do an OTT show, yeah, you'll know. And there'll be a lot of noise, right? Provided that noise will die out very quickly, provided the writing is good. You can have a star, you'll make so much of noise on social media and everything will have, if the writing is, because they're good, they're very good actors, they're very dedicated actors and all of that. But if the writing is not good, believe me, it might even ruin their careers. So writing, because this place is now dependent on writers. This platform cannot perform without good writing.
Do you think that with OTT content, which now focuses on nuance and human relationships in a way that masala movies never did, do you think our audiences are maturing as well?
I think our audiences were always mature.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Chaudhary Ka Chand, Pyasa came out in the 40s and 50s, and people went to watch it. Poetry. People didn't understand nuance and poetry then. Sure they did. But it is us who misunderstood the audience and thought they were dumb. So we kept dumbing it down. And I think we have corrupted the audience. Yeah.
One dream role you'd like to do on OTT, on a show, be it a movie, that you've not done before?
I somehow have a different take on playing roles. I just feel you can act your backside off. But if the writing is not good and the piece is not good, you can play whatever role you want, whether he's blind or has cerebral, any problem. You just need a good script and people will watch. They'll watch a simple guy and it'll be a great role. It doesn't have to be a role where you have to show how great an actor you are. People just watch characters and they want to follow their heart and soul, nothing else.